Weirding Way Media.
We're here now. I still leave my recording in progress thing on so that everybody knows, so that they don't say terrible things on recording. This has just all been about blackmail. That's all this has been. This podcast nobody actually listens to it. It's just blackmail. Isn't that weird? It's just, I've been doing this so I can collect all sorts of like very milquetoast information about my friends.
I totally believe you on both counts.
Yeah, right. I really love movies. What can we do with this information? What can we do with this information?
I'm expecting the entire nation of India to be listening. I'm expecting to travel to India one day, step off the plane, and have people chanting my name.
I mean, I don't know how many people on this side of the globe are talking about Pushpaka Vimana in 2023. And I would go as far as to say, I don't know how many people on the other side of the globe are talking about Pushpaka Vimana in 2023 because there's more movies in the world than there are, God knows what. So why would anybody be talking about a silent Indian film from the 80s in 2023?
So I was on Deadline a few days ago. And they often cover, international stuff because there'll be, international film festivals and all kinds of things. And I'm just scrolling through, and then suddenly I see the name Hrithik Roshan.
Yeah, baby. Woo woo. I'm like, and what were they talking about Hrithik? What was Hrithik up to? Is he in the next MCU movie?
Almost. I mean, they were talking about how, he had done a movie recently that apparently didn't perform as well as was expected. And it was sort of, perhaps it was a remake, but it was after it was announced, and then it came out a little later than it should have. I think he was saying that the announcement drove people to see the original, and by the time their remake came out, the interest had sort of died off.
Yeah, you're talking about Vikram Vedha. It supposedly was really good, but I guess nobody went and saw it.
Yeah. And then he was talking about, yes, I've had offers, things have come through to play, maybe a bad guy in a MCU film. So he was, he was responding to it, and I'm just like, this is amazing.
I fucking told you.
2 months ago, 3 months ago, I would have scrolled right past this. And now I'm like, hey, I know that guy. I am beginning to be semi-versed in international film from India. So I know who Hrithik Roshan is. I know Uday Chopra. I know Abhishek Bachchan.
And now you know Kamal Haasan.
And now I know Kamal Haasan.
Who's actually a really big deal. A very big deal. What's funny is Mike and I, on the last episode of the Culture Cast, the show that you're listening to now, that I'm the host of, Chris Stachiw, I'm joined by my good friend, DC Titan's own Richard Hatem.
Hello, everybody.
On the last episode, Mike and I talked about Moondram Pirai, which was another Tamil film featuring the one and only Kamal Haasan. So in that movie, he actually fucking spoke. Everybody spoke in that movie, but same can't be said for this movie. But I think that's going to be something we're going to have a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about on this episode of the Culture Cast, the second to last episode for Indian Cinema Month. We're going to be talking about 1987's Pushpaka Vimana. So the film is directed by Singeetam. It does star Kamal Haasan and Samir Kakar and Tinu Anand in all completely silent, no speaking roles. And the film is all about Kamal Haasan as a unemployed graduate who goes on a series of unfortunate events. It's a what's the word? Bildungsroman in a way. It's a story of, I don't know how to explain it. It's a day in the life. It reminded me a lot of After Hours, the Griffin Dunn movie.
It's got that, but because he's stepping into the shoes, as it were, quite literally, of someone who is of much higher status.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of I think wish fulfillment.
Yeah. So like Trading Places-esque, like
little bit of Trading Places, little bit of Prince and the Pauper,
Right,
little bit
right.
of taking care of business. Anytime someone switches identities and trades up, now it's only one way. We only see him go up. We don't get to see the rich guy suddenly. I mean, he's kept off camera. We'll talk about what's going on with him, but it's not like he then learns a lesson by stepping into the shoes of a poor man. He doesn't learn shit.
No, and our titular character, played by Kamal Haasan, not given a name, just the graduate. So,
a lot of them don't have names. According to the cast, a lot of it is the magician, the hotel owner.
I don't think any of the characters have proper names. So I think the only name that's the proper name that's given is like the places, Anand Bhavan and Pushpak. But I don't think they, I mean, again, what point is there to have names? Nobody ever talks.
Right. Yeah. They're very much just sort of, the space they hold in the hierarchy of, I don't know if it's a caste system comment or if it's, or if it's just, financial stability. I'm not knowing a ton about Indian culture. I don't know exactly every last thing that was being skewered or the disparities that were being highlighted. But anyone knows what this movie is about.
So tell me a little bit about what you thought about sitting down to watch Pushpaka Vimana, because I think the two of us a little skeptical going into a silent movie.
Well, considering that the last movie you had me watch was Doom 3.
Another silent movie.
Well, a movie that was made, 40 years later and at, the absolute height of cinematic production. This one starts out looking like a student film.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah.
So I was like, okay, all right, get off your Doom high horse and experience this for what it is. And it took a little while to get into it. I think it's a movie that for me got better as it went along, became more engaging. I think the humor became sharper. I think the visual approach to the humor actually evolved as the film went on. Because I remember early on thinking, well, I know what this is supposed to be, but Kamal Haasan is not exactly Rowan Atkinson.
He's not exactly Charlie Chaplin either.
Right. I'm not watching Mr. Bean. I'm not watching a highly skilled physical comedian, who uses his body like a dancer and every movement is so I was like, well, this is a little bit like, Rick Moranis, okay, this is sort of India's Rick Moranis. I love Rick Moranis, so I'm actually elevating Kamal Haasan's performance. But I will say this, as the film went on, I warmed up to him. I warmed up to his performance. I found more physical charm in what he was doing. I don't think he rises to the level of a great silent film comedian. I found he was engaging. Well, I don't know. I mean, again, not knowing the context, what people expected of him, what his iconography within Indian filmmaking was at the time, whether this was exactly right in line with what he always did or a shocking departure, I have no idea. So from a complete outsider's point of view, I found that he was a warm, engaging presence, not overwhelmingly charismatic, and he did not overwhelmingly impress me as a physical comedian. Nor did the director overwhelmingly impress me as a master of silent film composition, scene construction, blocking, and camera work. It was all a little loose, but having seen so many movies like this, I was able to sort of go, oh, okay, they're doing one of those.
So, couple things to answer your questions that you've kind of posed. One, Singeetam came up with this idea when he was in the shower for a complete silent movie. He was helping out a director KV Reddy, and they were directing a scene where characters didn't have to talk. And that's kind of what put him on this idea of take that one singular scene, flesh it out into a 2-hour film. This was the first dialogueless film in India after their silent era that they had, just like Western cinema.
I'm sorry, I missed. Did you say that he was the DP on another film?
He was assisting someone else with a scene where there was no dialogue. And he was like, can we do this as a entire movie? And
what was he like? What was his role on the film set? Like, is this the first film he directed?
No.
Oh, okay. So he was just sort of.
No, he was just, I mean, it's like anything else, right? I mean, when you're assisting someone else, who knows where the ideas come from? But I guess he really got a bug up his ass about not wanting to make a movie where people are delivering lines of dialogue. So that's what pushed him to make this movie. So to answer your question, Singeetam, not known for being a silent director, Indian cinema not known for embracing silent film, post the silent film era in India. I don't know how many Western silent films have come out since the silent era went away.
Right.
Like,
and not many.
A couple, The Artist, and then what was the other one that came out a couple years ago?
Mel Brooks's silent movie.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I think that's it, right?
Well, yeah, and it's to
the point where, like, There Will Be Blood, they were like, oh, the first 30 minutes of that movie didn't have any dialogue.
Really?
Yeah, I love that movie, but I get it. I don't
remember that movie, and I remember not liking it when I
get it. I totally get it. I mean, that's the thing. I realized immediately picking this movie, we were going to have kind of an interesting discussion at the top of this podcast, because this is something that I think is even a hard sell for Western audiences to get. I mean, remember when The Artist came out? I watched that movie. I don't understand what anybody saw in that movie. I get why it won the Academy Award. Technically interesting, but like from a storytelling standpoint, we've moved so far past silent filmmaking techniques that, like, is it interesting for people in this day and age, or is it just like a gimmick that exists as a thing that's out in a field on its own?
It's typically of interest to actors.
Right.
There's a lot of actors I know who love sequences where they can perform without speaking.
Right.
I usually think they like it because they don't have to memorize lines. It's just one less thing they have to think about. I also think that it's often a sense of, wow, if I'm not speaking, now they're just looking at me.
Right.
Like it's just one more level of the onanism that lies at the heart of some performers. There's directors love that notion too, because they feel that it reduces the role of the writer and elevates the role of the director in terms of, who's behind the wheel of the storytelling.
And who are we leaning on throughout the movie? Because there's no dialogue. There's no dialogue to lean on Quentin Tarantino. There's no dialogue to lean on. I don't know who writes amazing dialogue, but there are plenty of writers out there writing amazing dialogue. I mean, David Mamet, anybody, Martin McDonagh. I mean, if you have no dialogue, I mean, what do you do? The
charm of it is reduced because a writer knows that every single thing that is being presented emotionally and internally is contained within the text that they write. So it's not like a silent movie will allow you to do more.
Right.
It really doesn't. It's more like stepping into the ring with one arm tied behind your back. It's like, well, you can do this, but you're not allowing me. It's like saying, Van Gogh, paint whatever you want, but you can't use green or red.
Right.
It's like, well, why? Why is there an arbitrary restriction on yet one more thing that we could do to evoke character, to evoke mood and tone and theme? Going up to an orchestra and going, okay, 90% of you leave. We're only doing, the oboe and the piano. It's like, well, okay, that's an artifact and an oddity.
Stands out in the field by itself.
Or is it just a stunt?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, with something like The Artist or other, again, like Mel Brooks' silent film, it seems like a gimmick because it's not a thing anybody does anymore. And you could say the same thing about filming in black and white, or even to go further, filming on film even is it feels like a kind of a weird anachronism in a lot of ways. But at the same time, I digress. That doesn't mean this movie's not without value. I think it's just this movie had, like you said, this movie decided when they gave them the opportunity to pick a boulder to push up the hill, they picked the biggest one. They were like, we're going to push the biggest boulder up this hill. And you know what? I don't think the boulder rolled back and smashed them too much. But no. I think for me, when we talk about something like this, just like I don't have much of a frame of reference for silent era filmmaking in Western cinema even.
Well, I mean, look, I want to preface this by saying that I enjoyed this movie. I found a lot to like.
Agreed.
I was not checking my watch. I did not leave the movie angry that I'd spent 2 hours at all. I do find it interesting, though, that when you make this decision, it feels like it's an opportunity for a director to really step forward with their visual storytelling. And I think there was some of that, but I got to say, I wasn't blown away. I wasn't blown away by the compositions, again, by the editing, the way sequences were put together. It wasn't like, wow, this thing is leaping off the screen. I feel like there was dialogue. In fact, they do that thing that in film school, they get really angry, because when I went to film school, your first couple of classes were what they call non-sync sound. All that means is you don't have people talking. You can have someone knocking on a door, you can have a bell ringing or a phone or a radio in the background, but you can't have people talking. They really want you to learn how to tell a story visually. Fine. But the one thing you really don't want when you're doing that is to see people talking, like mouthing words or miming intentions.
Right.
Now they come up with a way to sort of cover that. There's a sequence, more than one, where the graduate is communicating with the magician's daughter.
Yeah.
And she's on a balcony across the way. Now, in that case, in real life, they cannot hear each other. So the fact that they're signaling each other and, there's a lot of semaphore and pointing and thumbs up, and that I'll excuse. But when they're standing next to each other and you can see that they're mouthing words, and when we get what's going on, but to me, that breaks in a way, the rules. It sort of breaks the illusion that we're going for, which is this is a silent movie. There were too many times it felt like it was struggling against itself. Like like, oh, we really want to talk right now, but we can't because we said we weren't going to.
Well, and that's the thing. It's when they're doing that, it's not a silent movie. They just drop the audio out. And I'm with you like that. It's, in my mind, a silent movie really, like you said, leans on the expectations that I'm going to take advantage of the fact I'm not going to see it as a hindrance that I don't have dialogue. I'm going to see it as an opportunity to really, like you said, just wow the audience with visual trickery or visual techniques or whatever, or interesting framing or whatever. Again, I feel like Singeetam had it in him. I just feel like the story that we're telling here is not that. Like it's, like the scope of the story, I feel like is so pedestrian that they kind of give themselves an out by it kind of being fairy tale adjacent. It feels kind of like a fairy tale in a lot of ways.
Well, I think it should have felt more like a fairy tale. I think
agree.
They should have taken a large step away from realism. I think the realism in the movie in terms of costume, production design, locations, it suggests a very naturalistic film.
Yeah.
Which again makes the absence of dialogue present in a way that it should not be. There is a way to embrace those situations. There is a way to go, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to make a silent movie, not just a dialogue-less movie, a silent movie.
And that distinction needs to be made, because I feel like the movie doesn't make that distinction clear enough, because it gets bogged down in not knowing what it wants to be, which is unfortunate, because the moments where it's doing the things that I expect from a silent film, or the things that I didn't expect, but are, I don't know, novel in concept, they don't do enough. Again, the story that they're telling is the story of a guy who essentially switches places with a rich guy. The stakes of that story should be glaringly obvious to anyone listening who hasn't watched the movie yet. The stakes are very low, to say the least.
Right. And it plays out in a comical way halfway through the movie. And by the way, we were talking about this before. Halfway through the movie, we introduce a new character, the killer,
who I think might be the best part of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Now, this is the guy I refer to as the Indian Joe Flaherty.
He's really the one. He's putting in all the time and effort to really go for it as the silent film performer. Let's just put it that way.
Well, the concept of his character lends itself to
blah, and like big, over the top, and like just exaggerated emotions, exaggerated emoting. Like Tinu Anand is doing that more than anybody else. It's like he understands the movie that he's in, and nobody else does.
Well, also his character is created in such a way that you're not struggling with the lack of speech.
Right.
And it's funny. I almost feel like the visual style, the moment he's revealed and introduced to the audience, suddenly becomes elevated, with the knife and the
ice dagger, the knife. Hold on a second now. We've gone into full bullshit territory with this movie. An ice dagger.
I mean, it's like, okay, that's this guy's thing.
Literally, that's his thing.
The worst assassin in the world. And he carries around a little cooler with him at all times.
Right. Like, hey, bro, there's got to be a better way to do this. I like that they initially tried to make it the film. They tried to make the film with a actual frozen ice dagger that they kept having to make every day.
Oh,
but they eventually were like, maybe we should just use acrylic.
Oh my God.
It's like, can you imagine that shit? This poor actor standing on stage with this fucking ice dagger just melting in his hand. The moment he touches it, it starts melting.
Yeah, we're not in Norway. We're in freaking India. That ice dagger is not going to last.
In the summer, too. Like, definitely not like the cold season in India either. But again, like, that speaks to a different movie. Like, where's that throughout the rest of the movie? That kind of weird sense of humor. Because, like, an ice dagger is very strange. And the way he uses it and the scenarios he gets himself into with it are funny. They end up being funnier than anything else.
My feeling was that it did move steadily in that direction.
Right.
There is a long sequence that was surprising to me about how our unemployed graduate deals with the rich man who he is kept tied up in a room somewhere in like a little apartment or a rooftop, place, and he has to go visit him regularly and feed him, keep him tied up and silent, but feed him and also provide him a way basically to use the bathroom, if I may. And we get a long sequence seeing how this all plays out that was kind of funny and kind of gross.
Kind of fucking bizarre. It reminded me a lot of 9 to 5, where Dabney Coleman is tied to the ceiling of the room, and the women from the office keep coming back to deal with him. It's similar, but I don't remember them sticking a funnel in Dabney Coleman's mouth and pouring food into his fucking mouth. It's awful. That's so terrible. You just feel so bad for the guy. You're like, oh my God, this guy is terrible. I mean, again, Kamal Hassan's character, I know we're supposed to sympathize with him, but I'm not sure that I can empathize with him. Like, the decisions that he's making, I would not be making them that way. Like tying someone up and then binding their head and sticking a funnel in the binding so that they can eat. Like,
right, and then cutting a hole in a beach lounge so that they can take a dump into a bucket.
Yeah. Like Kamal Hassan's character he reminds me a lot of his character from Moondram Pirai, where in that film, he plays a teacher who goes to a brothel and meets a woman who movie amnesia got conked on the head. And now she acts like a child, which is, movie amnesia, right? But he plays a character in that similar to this, where the character that he plays in that movie he's not a bad guy, but he went to a brothel and bought this woman who acts like a child and talks like a child. And in that movie, I had a hard time kind of, sitting there in the space with the guy who's supposed to be our hero, but also buys a woman from a brothel. I'm feeling the same way from this performance in this movie. He is totally down on his luck. He comes upon this situation, and you can't fault him for taking advantage of it. But then all of a sudden, it goes off the rails, as it tends to in a story like this.
So not again, not being fully acquainted with what the world was like in India or this part of India in 1987, but I'm going to guess that has a lot to do with gauging an audience's level of enjoyment, watching a very rich man be humiliated and taken advantage of, while a very poor man gets to enjoy the relative luxury of that man's life.
Right. And again, I mean, that message still plays in 2023, maybe even more so. But I think even in 2023, if you saw a person in a film tying a rich person up to a table and sticking a funnel in their mouth and feeding them, I think even you or I might go, maybe your methods are a bit archaic here.
Well, again, I would almost like tonally, I would lean toward embracing the absurd, because at least that puts us in that territory.
But I want them to go further, I guess, because my point is more like what they're doing is kind of not far enough to be comical. Right. It's kind of weird and upsetting. Well, it needs to go one step further. I don't know what it would be, but one half step further, and it's maybe verging into that absurdity that you're talking about.
And I don't know if this director, again, at this point in their career, was adept enough to carry off these sequences. Now, again, later in the film, and again, there's some wonderfully absurd things. There is a magician who is also staying at the hotel, and it's the magician's daughter that our unemployed graduate becomes infatuated with and ultimately starts a bit of a romantic affair with. But within that magician's apartment or his hotel room, the logic is that the things that he has are actually magic.
So, best I can interpret what happens in that scene. A guy starts levitating at one point.
Whenever we're in that room, objects fly around. Wands can raise people and lower people. It becomes like Harry Potter or something.
Exactly.
Now again, not in a way that's going to blow you away as an audience, but just as a gag, I found that to be very funny. And also that's the direction that I felt the film was most successful, when it was embracing the absurdity and taking advantage of the opportunities of visual humor, because that's classic. I wish that the magician, when he'd been performing, they had also found ways to let the magic of silent film and the notion that this guy somehow could do things, let that play out a little more. When he's performing down in the lobby, the tricks he's doing seem very pedestrian and not that interesting at all. Up in his room, people are like rising off the couch.
Real magic is happening.
Yeah, exactly. And, ice buckets are flying away and have to be grabbed back out of the air. That stuff was all really great. So that's when I felt like the film was sort of finding its mojo. There was the classic Scooby-Doo sequence. Remember that? The camera facing down a hallway, 3 doors on each side.
Oh, yeah.
Running in and out of the doorway.
I thought that was Benny Hill.
It's Benny Hill. It's
Scooby-Doo. It's every cartoon and child's entertainment thing known to man when the heroes are being chased by the villain.
Right. I mean, it goes back to the Three Stooges and Abbott and Costello, but that's the direction you need to be traveling, is backward. You need to be going back to Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin and visual humor. That's where the key of all this is and its success is going to lie. And this film achieved that less than I wanted it to. And it achieved it less often and with less skill than I would have appreciated. I don't think I would come away from this movie going, this director, he is a master of the language of film. He pulled off some nice moments, but there should have been more for a 2-hour film.
Well, and that's, that is the thing about Singeetam, I think, overall as a director. I don't think he's known as a director who is, one of the, like a Scorsese. He's more of a kind of a, I don't know how you would describe it. He worked in a lot of experimental film early on in South India, and then he directed about 60 movies, won some film awards, won all kinds of stuff, but he's more of a versatile actor, kind of a journeyman. He's done all kinds of stuff, been everywhere, done all kinds, not just one thing, not just directing dramas, not just directing comedies. I mean, again, directed a silent film, first one since the silent era. So I think I'm with you in the respect that the things that I wanted from the movie were what the movie delivers, sort of, and I'm almost of the mindset that it's a bigger crime to deliver sort of than to just not do it at all. Because by doing it somewhat, you let me know, especially with this movie, that you could have done it. Like the parts of this movie where they're doing it are more compelling than most of the things going on in this movie. So what was pushing you to think that those weren't the things that were entertaining is where I come back to. What were we trying to achieve here? And what were we kind of sacrificing to tell the story versus just being entertaining? Because again, this movie doesn't even need a story. It could just be a guy wandering around, and that's going to be impressive enough if you can pull it off as a silent movie. And in some ways, it kind of just is a guy wandering around for 2 hours.
Well, okay, so God forbid I bring up one of my favorite film actors and directors, Jerry Lewis. But you look at his debut film, The Bellhop, and that movie has several silent comedy sequences in it that are delivered more expertly than they've ever been done.
Right.
And it is what launched his career, such that it was. But when you're watching The Bellhop, you're watching someone who knows film comedy down to the cellular level.
Right.
And is delivering and again, the timing, the performance, the use of space, the compositions. I mean, say what you will about Jerry Lewis, The Bellhop nails it. And again, many silent sequences. It's not a silent film, but it's very episodic. And many of those episodes play with no dialogue. And it's just humor from his character and our expectations and seeing it play out. So it can be done. You can take a big swing. I support taking big swings. I just wish I wish the bat had connected a bit better.
No, I completely agree. And, I was sitting here thinking while I was watching the movie, thinking about the silent film things that I have seen, like we've talked about them, but you kind of mentioned it at the beginning. For me, the silent film thing, the silent experience that I think of when I think of silent comedy, because that's what this is Mr. Bean. It is Mr. Bean. He is the contemporary example of doing this correctly. I would say the only other person that might come close is Jackie Chan, because Jackie Chan is in many ways a martial arts version of Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton. So, but what's funny is, like you said, I mean, Mr. Bean doesn't really it doesn't traffic in fantastical realism, but I think Rowan Atkinson understands it better and can do more with less. Because I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like we've said, Kamal Haasan is an actor expecting dialogue. It's like when when they had Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone sing in La La Land. You don't have people who can't sing in movies.
Yes. Yeah.
Just like I wouldn't cast a guy in a silent movie who doesn't understand how to do this. I mean, again, if you want to just have it be a naturalistic performance, I think they achieved that, but that's not what this movie needed.
No, naturalism is not what this movie needs. You bring up Jackie Chan. Now here's a guy who from childhood has been trained how to use his body to 1/100th of an inch,
right,
in all directions.
Elicit a reaction.
Yeah. And in terms of fighting, in terms of acrobatics, and then through his own personal muse, combining all of those with comedy, it absolutely achieves far more. I really think that there is when you set out to do something like this, you have to pick your actor very carefully, and you have to pick your shots very, very carefully. And by the way, none of this stuff has anything to do with money. That's the funny part.
Right.
It's not like, well, man, it was 1987 and it was India and they didn't really have the budget. No, this is stuff that is designed to be done cheaply. You can do it cheaply. All you got to do is know where to put the camera, what lens to use, what your composition is, and you got to know your actor. And you got to know those sequences. And you know what? Film history is available to everyone. If you're directing this movie, the first thing you do is watch 200 hours of silent films and you steal every last thing that works. And then you redo it and you revisit it in a new location with a new actor under a new social, cultural, political regime. But you still do all those same things because the laughs are the same. You just have to remount them in different places. And you can do that and it doesn't cost a dime. So again, nothing against Kamal Haasan. I'm sure that in other movies, he is allowed to.
He's fantastic.
Fight with both hands.
Yeah.
And do
in
his
Moondram
thing, right?
Pirai, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's funny, like he's really playing a version of that character in that film here. It's that same kind down, because in that he's down on his luck. In this, he's down on his luck. It's just, right. I think it would have been interesting if you had seen Moondram Pirai, because I think you might have enjoyed this a little bit more, just primarily because of Kamal Haasan's performance, because this feels like a weird, like, sister piece to that, because it's the same character. This could even just be the character in that movie earlier in life, because in that movie, he's a teacher. Here, he's a graduate. You know what I mean? Like, it's just getting into these weird things, but it's that he's the same kind of morally ambiguous character, because I would say he's morally ambiguous. Anybody who switches places with a rich person, regardless of, whatever you think about doing that, morally ambiguous, right?
Well, yeah. And he does not have the sort of face. It's not like his emotional inner state is painted upon his face moment to moment.
No,
he's not Harold Lloyd,
which is what this needed.
From a grin to a grimace to a look of terror when things go wrong. He's got a little of it, but no more than most actors. In fact, to a degree, less.
Right.
So kind of an odd choice.
Well, it's odd because, and I agree with you, it's odd because the role that he's playing in Moondram Pirai, this kind of hang dog teacher, it's here, but it doesn't work as well here, because it works really well in Moondram Pirai because he can endear himself to the audience by being kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say charismatic, but caring for this woman. In this, it's just, he is kind of a cipher, and it is kind of a problem. It's actually a big problem because, again, like you've said, like we've talked about already, you need to understand the assignment here. And the assignment is not write 10 pages about your favorite movie. It's write 2 pages, but every word has to matter. Right. And it's got to be simple. And it is. The storyline is very simple. He's not called upon to deliver complex emotions and multiple layers. But it is funny because, again, having, the movies we've just watched, I'm like, wow, we need Uday Chopra's face. Really. Or Amir Khan, right?
Or Amir Khan. Absolutely. Amir Khan. Absolutely.
Right. You get it. We all get it, man. But that's the thing. Like, again, Kamal Hassan's a great actor. I don't think this was it. This is such a hard task. Like, this is not easy. This is as hard of a task as you can get short of, I don't know how you could make a movie any harder. I don't, because even black and white's not this hard. It is in a way, but like the expectations are different. It's more of a lighting question and a composition question. This infects the entire movie because there's no dialogue throughout the entire goddamn film. Right. And yeah, he's sort of finding his inner Robert Duvall. Oh, interesting. Which is not what you need here. You need some, but again, like, if I guess the question comes down to, it's not the performance that Kamal Haasan is turning in. I think it's what they were asking of him to do. And I just don't think what they were asking him to do was interesting. And I feel like if they had done it, I don't know. I don't know what could have been a better direction to take this movie, because you've already put yourself in such a dire position by saying, I want it to be a silent movie. Like, I wouldn't make a silent movie. Can we just say that? Like, I don't think either one of us would ever go, let's tackle a project that we've both been meaning to do for the entirety of our careers. A silent film. Like, well, look at it this way. If you nail it, you nail it, though. People will not forget it if you nail it, right? Was this film a box office success when it came out? It was a success when it came out. So the question is, were a lot of silent movies made after this, trying to capitalize on the novelty? I think it opened up people to be more experimental with film, but I think Singeetam was already pushing that. The kind of information that I saw, this movie is well regarded. It's well regarded as kind of an interesting entry into Singeetam's, kind of filmography. It is seen as a worthy entry into Kamal Haasan's filmography as well. But I don't think it moved the needle to the let's make silent films, just like similarly to the way the artist didn't move the needle one singular fucking iota.
No. And you know what? That's fine.
Right. They're not expecting to, I don't think.
Even if you do, like, even if today, someone decided to do that, it would still just be an artifact. It would still just be like, oh, you did something as well as it was done 100 years ago.
Yeah. How can I entertain the most people the quickest, right? No dialogue, no barrier to entry. I mean, that's the thing about this movie that I do applaud. Everybody who's in this movie, they're not Hindi actors or Tamil actors or Telugu actors. They're all kinds, because what a surprise. Doesn't matter when nobody has to say anything.
Right. Yeah.
I applaud that. But I can't help but wonder what this movie would have been like if there had been dialogue.
Well, I have another question, which is the ending. It sort of it wears its lessons and morals on its sleeve. In the final few minutes of the movie, he pretty overtly learns the lesson. Maybe money doesn't bring happiness, and maybe honesty is the best policy. And so not only does he undo everything that he's done and return the rich man to his place and come clean to the magician's daughter and explain to her what's happened, and it appears that she forgives him on some level. She's not, shunning him. But then it just kind of ends with him back in line looking for a job or an apartment, I guess. And it's sort of like, well, okay, so what was the film trying to tell its modern day 1987 Indian audience? Like, no rewards whatsoever. The fact that you went and did this thing that was kind of a bold move that you didn't have to do,
to say the least.
Yeah, it pays off zero. Like, he didn't even get to continue whatever his relationship was with the girl. It's sort of like, no, the lesson here is don't do it. Stay where you are. You're in your place.
You would have been really put off by the ending of Moondram Pirai then. You would have been real put off by that movie.
Oh, shit. What happened?
It's at the end of the movie, the woman goes away and he's just on the train platform doing these kind of childish faces and stuff for her that she loved when she was the child, because she is no longer a child because the amnesia wore off. And she just leaves on the train and he's like chasing after the train, and that's it. That's it. And you know what? There it makes sense, because in a lot of ways, if you look at it as Kamal Haasan is not the antagonist of the movie, but maybe a unreliable character, given that he bought a woman from a brothel, her getting away from him could be seen as the happy ending. But given that our character in that movie, the main character, is Kamal Haasan, you can't help but feel bad for him. In this movie, they kind of do the same thing. They're just like, and by the way, go fuck yourself. Like, in a lot of ways, it kind of feels like, just go fuck yourself then. Like, nothing you did matters. Nothing you've done matters. And you're right back where you started. And that's why I said it reminded me of After Hours, because Griffin Dunn in that movie leaves his office, has the adventure of an evening. And where does he get dropped off? Right back in front of the office. And he goes right into the building, and that's it.
Well, and I think you can talk a lot about, and these movies were made almost the same year. I mean, wasn't After Hours like 85, I think?
Mm-hmm. Something like that. And honestly, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but as much as my favorite non-Goodfellas Scorsese movie is After Hours, like without a doubt.
I really enjoy After Hours. Now, I mean, not to go too far afield, my favorite Scorsese film is King of Comedy.
Fair.
And we can talk about that on a later podcast, if ever. But yeah, there was something like, there is no conversation about After Hours that is not about Manhattan in 1985 as experienced by young, upwardly mobile white people.
Right.
Okay.
That's almost the entire conversation.
Right. I mean, so it's commenting on a very specific time, place, and social level, which is awesome. And if the answer to all that is you can have as crazy a night as you want, but in the morning you still have to go back to your soul-sucking job in an office,
right?
In Manhattan. Okay, what what this movie meant to the people watching it in 1987, not in terms of enjoying the laughs, but in sort of walking out going, yep, that's how the world is. You bring up his other movie where he sort of his main relationship is with a prostitute. And there's all kinds of movies where the prostitute holds a specific role. And typically it is a man saving that prostitute. That is one of those roles.
Right.
Okay. So I meet you as a prostitute, but then it becomes real because I see you as more than that, meaning the man. And then that redeems her and she becomes a real girl.
Right.
And we live happily ever after.
So every prostitute story is just Pinocchio, is what you're saying?
Well, kind of. I mean, it's like, I don't see you as just an object. I see you as a living, breathing entity with a soul. And because I see you that way, and you've gone so much of your life not being seen that way, it's become your reality. And now I'm changing your reality by seeing you differently. That's that kind of story. You're saying in the other movie you're referring to, what's it called?
Moondram Pirai.
Moondram Pirai, that's not what happens. Or maybe what happens is he turns her into a real girl and she says, thanks.
Adios. Again, but like this movie trades in that same just like, and that's the way it is. Like this movie, the same thing. The woman leaves. Kamal Haasan is once again left holding the bag. And what does he do? He just goes, all right.
Well, yeah.
Back at it again. Like he doesn't even act hangdog about it. He's just back in line.
I mean, are we saying that in the first half hour of the film, he was so avaricious that we learn that his main character trait is, I will do anything to have the life of a rich man. And then the opportunity comes. And then when he takes it, he realizes that it's not everything he wanted. I mean, look, here's the thing. He does a bunch of stuff, but none of it is bad. It's not like, oh my God, he turns into a monster. Look at this guy. We liked him better when he was poor. And then he learns the lesson that, it all went to his head. It didn't go to his head.
No, but to be fair, you have to have dialogue to be able to convey that though.
I don't know. I don't agree. I don't agree. No.
It's easier with dialogue, but I feel like that's always the case, huh?
Well, yeah, everything is easier with dialogue, but you can still do the silent sequence where he's cruel to poor people, where he's thoughtless, he's driving his, rich car and throwing, champagne glasses out the window, and the broken glass is flying up into the eyes of the poor.
What fucking movie do you want to write, Richard?
You can
throwing glasses at people.
You can visually illustrate a guy being a dickish rich guy,
a haughty asshole. It wouldn't be that hard. I just don't know why that was. I don't know why they didn't want to tell that story, because that's the ending they kind of give our hero here.
Right. Is that, I turned into something I'm not. I turned into the enemy. And you know what? Better that I just be myself and do it honestly. But we get that. I mean, it was a fairly simple point. Yeah, you shouldn't lie. I don't think he needed to see a bunch of pictures from the hotel owner's life to learn the lesson that, well, maybe earning your money the real honest way is better. It's like, okay.
Singeetam just traveled into the future, saw the menu, saw the way they did it in the menu where they have all these clippings on the wall, and Singeetam was just like, I like how lazy it was there. Let me do it in my movie.
Couple of things I hate. Couple of things.
Break it down for me. I want to hear what Richard hates in filmmaking. I want to hear it.
This goes back to film school, but when I'm like working with students, it's like, don't have a scene where someone walks into their apartment after work and then looks at a picture on their mantle of somebody and then walks into the kitchen. And we're supposed to get something from that. No.
Oh, they've conditioned us pretty well to get something from it, though. I'll give them that.
Oh yeah, and this is what you do in film school all the time.
Right. I'm with you. It's just like it's as lazy can be.
Yeah, the film school. Well, the joke in film school is there's only 3 movies in film school: The Bum, The Dream, and The Bum's Dream. But in film school, all you ever see is a college guy walking into his college dorm, slumping down on the couch, and then looking over and seeing a girl smiling in a picture.
Right.
And it makes him sad. Now, what do you think's going on in his life?
And if she's younger than him, it might be his girlfriend, or it might be his sister. If she's older than him, it might be his mom, or it might be his sister.
Well, let me help you. It's the girl that broke up with him.
Yeah, or it's
Always.
that, or it's that.
100% of the time.
I was trying to give them other options to go with, Richard, and they chose not to. I don't know why.
Yeah, they didn't.
I would like for once for them to have a guy look over and it be a picture of another guy, like two guys, and he's just like, mm-hmm.
But by the way, watch any network pilot on any given year, and you will find a cop going home and looking at a picture of himself with a woman and a child and a dog.
Maybe he'll touch it wistfully too.
Right. And run the finger down the side of the frame.
Pick it up and stare at it.
And all we know is none of those other people are in the place where he lives right now.
Right. They might not be alive. They might not be dead, but they're not there.
They're not there. This person's alone. Okay, great. So that's one thing I hate. The other, at the very top of my list, is any female lead character with a male name.
Oh, wow. Whoa, Richard.
I am done with Alex. I am done with Sydney. I'm done with Charlie. I'm done with Tony. You could go on. I'm done
Ripley?
with all of them. I'm done. I want Stephanie. I want Melody. I want Lisa.
Are you fucking doing Mambo number 5 right now? I'm going to stop you here.
I want Monica in my life. I want a little bit of
Jessica. You were literally naming the Lou Bega names without naming it. I thought you were pulling some long con joke here.
No.
And then you pulled your white fucking pork pie hat, and all of a sudden, here's Richard doing his best Lou Bega. Who would have thought?
You know, because the implication is she's not worthy of a lead role unless you can sort of trick yourself into thinking she has male attributes signaled by the name. It drives me fucking crazy. Like, we can't get behind a strong woman named Amanda. It's impossible. I'm not on board. You got to call her Rocky, but we know her name is Raquel, but she's Rock, and they all call her Rocky. Hey, Rocky. It's like, that earns her the right to be the lead of this show. Drives me fucking nuts. But anyway,
I don't do that here, but they do the other thing, so it doesn't kind of fucking matter.
There's a lot of pointing at pictures and people going, "Oh, that's who that guy is." Okay.
Yeah, but I again, I'm not going to give the movie an excuse, but I feel like this may be where I'm like, hey, them pointing at things, maybe not the end of the world, given that they can't really do anything else, I guess. Emote or attempt, if you're Kamal Haasan, really try to emote. And that's, honestly, the biggest issue that I have with this movie. As good as Kamal Haasan is, the guy who plays the killer, Tinu Anand, is just too good. He's just too good.
So good.
He's way better than the movie deserves. That character is almost like out of a different movie.
He's hilarious.
The scene where he goes into the room thinking that it's Kamal Haasan, or I guess he thinks it's the husband and it's Kamal Haasan. He just electrocutes himself while Kamal Hassan's just like sitting there watching the TV. It's fantastic. He knows how to sell the physical comedy and physical presence needed to get the audience to understand what he's doing without us having to hear a single word.
And it's pure comedy. If you read the script and you're an actor with any ounce of soul, that's the role you want. You don't want the lead role. You're like, oh God, please say I'm reading for the killer.
Right.
That's the role you want. And that guy does a better job of inhabiting his role and the spirit of his role, which is great. But it's because it's written, the script allows for it and, kind of tease him up as it were. So that guy's great. I gotta say, I do have a deep love for the walking into the discotheque and doing the signal where you flip your tie over your shoulder. That's how they're going to know each other. The tie flipping, that killed me. I love
that's the signal. The signal is flip your tie.
Yeah, couldn't be more obvious. But
I mean, again, when you have a guy walking around with an ice dagger that doesn't hide it, I don't know what's more obvious than that, because he's walking around with it like out in the open, just like holding it out at arm's length in front of him, like, anybody want some of this? It's like, hey, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, no.
And the guy who hires him provides him a gun, and he very, very pointed was like, I'm not going to need this. Thank you very much.
Right. What an uncivilized tool.
I got my signature thing I do. It's the weapon that disappears. Okay. It's genius.
Isn't there, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't there a Clint East? Yeah, okay.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, wait, what? Clint Eastwood? Oh,
a Clint Eastwood, wasn't there a Clint Eastwood movie where the assassin has like ice bullets? They did like a whole Mythbusters thing about it. But that's what
like Deadpool or something?
Yeah, something like that. But it's like a sniper who's sniping at people with ice bullets. And it turned out like, shockingly, you can't do that. Who'd have thunk it? You could do this, though, because, people get killed by icicles and sheets of ice all the time, actually. It's kind of horrifying.
Yeah, no, I thought this was great because, again, it tells us so much about that killer. It's like he has a sense of imagination and identity with what he does.
Right.
He's not just a dumb thug. He's like, again, I have a signature thing I do. It's a big hassle.
Right.
Got to carry around a cooler. It's not very durable. I'm not very good with it.
Yeah, he killed one or two people by accident. Just all right. Like, what does it matter when it's made out of ice? Nobody can prove it was you anyways.
It's my thing. This is what I do. It's my thing. I'm not going to use a gun. I'm not going to use poison. I'm going to use an ice dagger.
I do like the idea that the guy who hires him tries to give him a gun, not knowing that this is the ice knife guy. This is the guy who goes to all the henchman meetings and he's like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, you got ninja stars that have poison on them. Oh, you got a billy club that's got, I don't know, electricity. And what do you got over there? A fucking ice knife? Okay. Don't go kill anybody in Arizona, bro.
So the guy, whoever put this meet together did not say, now look, you're meeting his nickname on the street, the Iceman. It's like you're paying extra for the fact that his weapon disappears. No fingerprints, no clues, no nothing.
Right.
He doesn't even lead with that. It's like, no, you hire me. I'm not even going to tell you this is how I do this. Yeah. I'm just going to do it. You keep your gun. I got my own way.
What do you got in that case over there you've been carrying the whole time?
None of your business.
Yeah. What you got in there? It's cold. Is there you got some cold in there?
Nothing. No, it's a beverage. Forget it. It's nothing.
What a fucking, you know what? That's the most fun part of this entire movie is the fact that the guy has an ice knife and then that the magician is able to actually make magic happen. Yes. Like that's the most fun.
It's fun. And I actually like the magician's daughter, India's Melissa Fumero. Do you know who that is?
I do not.
That was the female lead on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Andy Samberg's love interest.
Gotcha.
That's kind of how I felt. I'm like, oh, she's kind of got a Melissa Fumero thing, sort of a, really fun, cool girlfriend kind of vibe.
And, I kind of wanted to see them together at the end. I feel like they really, I mean, we've talked about it already, but they really punish our lead unnecessarily. And I'm not going to say it leaves a bad taste in my mouth as an audience member, because again, I didn't know what to expect going into the movie, but the movie takes a very clear stance as to what it perceives to be the moral standing of our lead, right? The movie's taking a stand on it.
Yeah, it's just a little flat. That's all.
I agree.
Again, for a big swing, you want it to swing bigger.
Yeah, I'm with you. 100%. So on that note, Richard, final thoughts on Pushpaka Vimana.
I appreciated watching it. I'm glad to know these actors, all of whom are new to me. Kamal Haasan is great. I'm looking forward to seeing him in some other stuff. And it's funny, when you told me it was a silent movie, I'm like, oh, great. So I'm not going to be reading subtitles the entire movie. I can just, oh, wait, my eyes will still be glued to the screen. It's not like I can fold laundry and watch this movie.
Richard had him laundry king, so I've heard.
That's right. That's right.
I hear you, baby. I'm the laundry king of our house. Laundry king. Yeah, man.
It's a special time. I go upstairs, I close the door, I put on The League, and I fold laundry.
The League?
Don't you watch The League on FX?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it.
It's it's the one with Nick Kroll.
I'm just surprised you watch it.
I love The League. I know nothing about football. I hate football. That show is fucking hilarious.
I was to say, and 9/11's own Steve Ranasazi.
Wait, why is he 9/11's own?
Oh, do you not know about that?
No, what is this?
The lead, Steve Ranasazi, the guy who, I think he's probably one of the creators of the show, the main character. He he totally pretended he was in one of the buildings on 9/11 and was like talking about it for like a decade, like, and just like trading in the cachet of that. I'm dead serious. Like it was a whole thing when he got found out, and it was like, yeah, man, it's fucking weird.
That's insane. But this was all post. I mean, this was just like 10 years ago.
Dude, this was like during the show being on, I think, actually.
Well, maybe that's when it came out. But I mean, the show ran from like whatever, 2015 to 2020 or something. Or maybe a little bit earlier. But anyway,
much? Jeez,
that's got Paul Scheer. It's got Jason Mantzoukas. I mean, that's
two of Mike White's favorite people, I've heard. As for me, Pushpaka Vimana, I appreciate for what it is. I'm glad we watched it. I'm glad that I've now seen an Indian cinema film that is a silent film, one of a small handful. And at the same time, I'm glad that I've seen more Kamal Haasan movies, because up until last week, I had never seen a single one. Now I've seen two. And he is someone that I enjoyed, and I would enjoy him with or without dialogue, clearly. I just wish the movie had been a little bit more fun and a little bit less meandering, because that's ultimately, it just feels kind of like the first half of the movie is very meandering. The second half of the movie is a lot of fun. When he gets to the hotel, it's almost a different movie, and it's almost worth just skipping to that point. Just get to the point when he gets to the Pushpak, and then I think the movie is a lot more fun. It's more self-contained. It kind of is a little leaner and knows what it's wanting to do, and it's not it's not able to live in the entire world outside of the walls of the Pushpak. So I don't know. I'm with you. I enjoyed it, but I think it fell a little short. So on that note, we'll take a break and we'll play a preview for the final Indian cinema film of January. That's right. On the final episode of Indian Cinema Month, we're going to be talking about Satya, which is not a film with silent characters. It is a movie with guns and people shooting, and it's an action movie. And it's also from the 80s, I think. I'm excited. I mean, I'm always excited to watch Indian crime movies, because the only one that I've seen that's from that time is Parinda, and that movie kicks you right in the balls in the last 10 minutes in the best way possible. I'll be joined by my good friend and host of Scary Stories We Tell, Jess Byard. Until then, where could people find you, Richard?
They can find me on HBO Max. Titans is in its 4th season. I don't know when this is going to air, but I will say
literally in like an hour.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. So the first half of season 4 of Titans on HBO Max has been released. The second half, the final 6 episodes of season 4, will come out, I believe, in April. So take the opportunity to watch the first 3 seasons available on HBO Max, and let me know what you think.
As for me, weirdingwaymedia.com is where you can go to find this show, Mike White's Projection Booth, Father Malone's Astounding Tales from the Public Domain, and Richard's wife, Susan Lambert Haddam's 80s TV Ladies, a show that you should totally check out, because unlike this show, she actually got some of the people from the things she's talking about to be there, including, but not limited to, like, just the lead from Remington Steele, who's not Pierce Brosnan. So there you go. If that's something you're into, well, you should listen to that episode of that show. And if it's not, well, you should go listen to the entire show and make it your thing. As for this show, and as for me, culturecast.com, patreon.com/culturecast, places you can go to help us out financially or otherwise. Rate, review, like the show wherever you get it. Richard, thank you so much for joining me. As always,
my pleasure. Just tell me what's next, Professor, and I will be there ready to talk.
Do you curse this much as a professor? I say fuck way too much to be taken seriously as an academic.
Oh, when I teach at UCLA, it's fuck up one side and fuck down the other.
On that note, we'll catch you on the next episode.